Dilkes, Dilkes as Gael Erich.
As showed you Claare na Gael as befaliam Shuish Altacha. This is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have a tale of old Bobby Bob.
And I'm here to present this programme, which is called Claare na Gael, with one part of it in the English language as our lellig sa Gaeilge, and with another part of it in the Manx Gaelic, Chinne na Mera, the mother tongue of ELIANE Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Ballaughton and Jurish, well, prior to going on out further to Kirkbraden, David Robertson had directed our attention to the Nunnery and mentioned that it was synonymous with generous hospitality under its owner, Captain Taubman. We'll find out a little more about him first. Tan Dr John Seward, ceart chorfúil the Girachs Diakons Cuslian Lucy Westenra, looked an early Seward as an Olu van Helsing, featherny on stead aglach savora. Lurg na breid tan Dr Seward Chigol Shees na Grecian. Now, The Sea Around Us is a song written by Dominic Bean, and it's performed here by Ron KAVANA. Tashu geis jachrish radio vanning stasiwn na nasiwn beskull sgeliene of Idoulish, ELIANE Vanning.
They say that the lakes of Killarney are fair, no stream like the Liffey could ever compare. If it's water you want, you'll find nothing so rare as the stuff they make down by the ocean. The sea, oh the sea, is Gael Macree, long may it flow between England and me. It's a sure guarantee that somehow we'll be free. Thank God we're surrounded by water. Tom Moore made his waters meet fame and renown, a great lover of anything dressed in a crown. In brandy the bandy old Saxon he'd drown, but throw ne'er a one in the ocean. Now the Scots have their poets, the Welsh have their speech, and the poets are paid about 10 pence a week, provided no harsh words of England they speak. Oh Lord, what a price for devotion. The sea, oh the sea, is Gael Macree, long may it flow between England and me. It's a sure guarantee that somehow we'll be free. Thank God we're surrounded by water. Well, the Danes came to Ireland with nothing to do but to dream of the plunder the old Irish they slew. How you willed in your bollocks, said Brian Boru, and he chucked them straight back in the ocean. Two foreign old monarchs in battle to join, each wanting his head on the back of a coin. If the Irish had sense, they'd thrown both in the vine, partition dumped into the ocean. The sea, oh the sea, is Gael Macree, long may it flow between England and me. It's a sure guarantee that somehow we'll be free. Thank God we're surrounded by water. The sea, oh the sea, is Gael Macree, long may it flow between England and me. It's a sure guarantee that somehow we'll be free. Thank God we're surrounded by water.
Ron KAVANA from Fermoy in County Cork with the Alias Acoustic Band and his idiosyncratic version of Dominic Bean's song The Sea Around Us. John Taubman was born in 1746. He went on to serve in the British Army, in which he attained the rank of captain, and from 1799 he became a major in the Manx Fencibles, the Douglas Volunteers that he himself had raised. But that was after the time that David Robertson was writing about him, so Robertson refers to him as Captain Taubman, from his rank in the British Army. John Taubman had married Dorothy Christians of Milntown, that is, but they also held Ewan Rig in Cumberland, just outside Maryport. Their marriage had taken place in 1774. Dorothy had died, in fact, 10 years later. 2 years after his marriage, John Taubman had bought the nunnery from the Heywood family, so that would be 1776. His father, also a John Taubman, became Speaker of the House of Keys in 1780, so again that was the situation when David Robertson was writing. When John Taubman SHK died in 1799, his son John Taubman, fils of the nunnery, was the chosen one of the two names put forward by the other members, and he was immediately made Speaker of the House of Keys in place of his father. Gouds van mi fi Gael en Schemer, Henk e Malurg, as René Lie Hancherach, Goud Taster, ha neiden de weg gulle greige sjo. Me visse greide eeg ein chit risht en jou jurkich, maar vei rai, gin vogeldei. Jinnach e genunche daglige e, as kororsen edige nis, ha neiden de ieren nen vei on, me so. Tre henk mi back ich e arm de kerelach as esch doortje, genelluach veik na smedde. Stiach liat se chamber as gin lai an eish aget, as gau feirish tamelt, eish gau an giel moer as taad so dus. Van mi bailacht en a serige egge, son va fissem kreeg kaart as krine as vad. Van mi a chuline per dem, as nish van nachor morm de chummelsoes men jaart. Jeni mi fear a noon, as sun a noonid chael mi riddanach jen jindesem na verdagert. A chutch mi machadle an eishach, as feishem rish as rish, machion an or va Lucy engel, whish, she's a lurga. Now, speaking of going to sleep, this is a Breton lullaby. Kousk, va lellig Kousk. Sleep, my cutie, I suppose it is. A sleep sung by ELIANE PRONOST. Recording from 1959. That was ELIANE PRONOST with the lullaby Kousk, va lellig Kousk. As machron an or, oddach I ve timid je chwish fool, gin cawr bol bi de heilsich amache. Liam der mi frail rish cor a feish, chaus va mi dremel, No, my chad las my chwys, de denk my smunion riw rish as rish, gus na dorl yn beggar sy sgor na cheg, as cum yn iaw chorym ciawch na oerenach, na iau dy rawyd fi beg. Ren Lucy cadla fod a stiach sy le. As trer yn I dwsta fy mai as ledge dy lŵr, a chynau fag as dyn acht mor fi yn le Onchan. Tref van Helsing a Nunnery, haie mach son kosiach, as va currum currajorum, lesh anach en gear, na raumi de Gael I ear is shalid. Dot mi clash na chore sa haal je moer, as braiach mchion en red gus en ig chelgram snedda. Ran Lucy goel cawag rum de ser. As ve gian na rauw visser biak de rauw vegge dagert. Hug mi eber corori goel taatjes as taasta. Besides the nunnery, says David Robertson, there are several houses pleasantly situated in the neighbourhood of Douglas. Of these I shall only enumerate Atholl-lodge, the present residence of Lord Henry Murray. Now, Atholl-lodge, I think, was on Port-e-Chee. Certainly that's where the Murrays were living at the time, having moved off the quayside, and before the Castle Mona was built for them, they were down on Port-e-Chee. We heard of Lord Henry Murray, rather scandalously perhaps, though probably not very accurately, when we were hearing Samuel William Riley's tongue-in-cheek account of his visit to the island in 1795. Riley was a pseudonym, he was actually Romney. Well, Lord Henry Murray was the brother of John IV, Duke of Atholl. Now, noting that Douglas is twinned with Ballymoney in County Antrim in honour of the association initially with Joey Dunlop and then the Dunlop family, Lord Henry Murray was deployed in Ireland with the Manx Fencibles after the rising in 1798, and this was unusual because Fencibles were essentially a home guard, but here were the Manx Fencibles being used elsewhere. And, unfortunately, it was Lord Henry Murray who ordered the burning of Ballymoney as a reprisal. Oh dear. And there we heard music by Percy Grainger. He was from Australia, born in Australia. He did some study in Germany. He came to Britain, where he worked with the likes of Delius and so on. And in 1914, he emigrated to America, the United States, and in fact he took United States citizenship. But he had an interest in Nordic music as well, and there we heard part of his Danish folk music suite. That was the second part, which is based on a piece called Lord Peter's Stable Boy. So there we are, music by Percy Grainger. He also arranged recordings of folk music. He went round with a phonograph and recorded singers singing English folk music, I suppose, British folk music. Siodiw stasiwn yn asiwn o radio fanim, a sé Claare na Gael was goler Creela Cartnish, Merempin o Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have you heard tell of owl Bobby Bob?
David Robertson then mentions Ballaughton, enlivened by the generous conviviality of Captain Southcote. Well, I found a reference to the will of Michael Southcote of Ballaughton, who died in 1793, 2 years after Robertson's return visit to the island. I think Southcote must have been renting the property because at the time Ballaughton was divided between Ballaughton Corkle and Ballaughton Kiaull, named for the families who owned them. And then Robertson finally refers here to The Hague, the seat of the late Richard Betham, LLD, a gentleman whose erudition was truly respectable, and to whose politeness and friendship I am highly indebted. Well, Richard Betham had been appointed by the Crown as Receiver General and Water Bailiff in 1765, after what the Manx people referred to as an Gael, the big swindle, when John Murray III, Duke of Atholl, was pressurised into selling his regalities in respect of the island to the British Crown, so that the British government could put a stop to the running trade. Tre henk a voir nis de chorshiliori, ve jean a vaki cochlea a chorer bi, ach dut de buisel. Tashin quish fol jaston a stutch fairly Seward, son ulju ter ve jinded, ach sein dut de fear nish goil kereel na velu gavrach o heen rauer. Ta was heen jean Neil. Ta ons fame jay ben de yinu bonderes as de goil kereel jeet beggen, shen murte. Gouds vi lord, ren Lucy jurgige, gen rawe ach rish tullach, son gedod na kushlian vach de spoelitek, sorrel rish vader, lied de rai nieuw gajin den gion. Henken aert is ons rauwer benid, gouds jendei soelien as achen on dau orm. Ren mi munga a snuggle, as hug me me weer me velen. Lesh asne, renny sint Gael, gaure drumme, master na kluisjegenek. Henk van Helsing backelijk kowel de oeren, as na shine doort rum. Nishesh, soel tailiat, as gau ram be as gau jaach de lure. Now, from the Bunskol Gilgach's musical Mannanan as an Kabel Kite, this is a song about an Ellian Sheent, the Blessed Isle. The youngsters of the Bunskoil Rilgach, one of the songs specially written for one of their many musical productions. Jin Legerúhin. Tammy Tanachtan and Shaw nach as bim heen ma hai douche merish in the weg. Sein Dutch as douce frelara erachúsh, as genaiden fissori veeg pecher bielje, de oren trauma on. De oren trauma em. Ach, de gin braiach man in gion, smunny mor balt, na gaual rosh smunnion eer orusen vis smoo nieuw likli. Levi. Sahalia moor henk daar je in de veeldouw, je na in de veeldouw is gamaleshel. Sahalia moor henk daar in de veeldouw is vrije jim ber kidok na ek verder bijou de ween in gadle douchemerischen in a Lucy. Rennet gwi arm de chor kiddouw. As treed doort me de rauwe jeri en fairly van Helsing de jinnach eder eschen na mish ve ma hai douche. Vrije jim trai de loer de jinno stiach dunjes jory. Van mi me weicher de moer liorish en gingelisok. Fuddy de wel no de wel mi fes ege trei toon. As fuddy no de rauwe aslie Lucy, de rauwe eile ok na heilse gemaag. Now, Richard Betham, as the collector of customs in the island, would have been David Robertson's superior in his role as a revenue officer, a tide waiter. Richard Betham lived at The Hague in Onchan. His daughter, Elizabeth, or Betsy, was married in St. Peter's in Onchan to William Bligh on the 4th of February 1781. And William and Betsy Bligh lived in Douglas, and there's a record of their second child, Mary, who was born in April 1783, being baptised in St. Matthew's Church in July 1784. I can't find a record of their first child, though, Harriet Maria, born in November 1781, and she went on to live to be 74, in fact, so I can't think why she wouldn't have been baptised. Through Betsy Betham's maternal uncle, Duncan Campbell, a shipowner and merchant, William Bligh was introduced to Sir Joseph Banks and subsequently went on to Captain HMS Bounty, of course, with its various Manx associations. But Richard Betham had died in 1789, and The Hague went to the Bullocks. They took over the running of it. We heard of the Bullocks, of course, particularly the redoubtable Hannah Ann Bullock. We've heard of her several times recently. Now this is Welsh singer-songwriter Steve Eves with one of his songs, What Place Is This? Pallaughton.
I ddilyn llwybr I dir hen stad Mae ti fy nhad Yn henwe rhyfedd Llawar ffenast A llawar drws Mae'n llawn dirgelion Mae'n llawn atgofion O gan i'r blws
Steve Eves and his song Parley i'w Hwn. The land round Douglas, says David Robertson, though perhaps not the richest, is certainly the best cultivated in the island. Of late years, several English farmers, sinking under the accumulated taxes of their own country, have retired to a land as yet exempt from such oppression. Here they enjoy peace and abundance, while the success attending their agricultural labours seems at length to have roused the Manx from their lethargy. The marshy grounds are now drained, the wastelands enclosed and nourished with lime, marl and seaweed. Cultivation begins to throw a rich verdure over hill and vale, and the yellow harvests now wave luxuriant o'er the smiling land. And in a footnote he tells us, in the north side of the island, marl is very plentiful. The sweepings of the red herring houses are esteemed a rich manure. Marl is a loose or crumbly deposit of sand, silt or clay, which contains a large amount of calcium carbonate. You find marl pits where it's been dug out for use. Son rish as rish, tamir nagen, liedn sam pleren je kindjelus boeren. Heng me back a saw and stred a gold jenair anmach. Hai me me geert, hol you de mai as rem me screw shoch as van me furcht en sabine. Te chit arm. An chidla jeg mein fower. Faster dew hai me herish gus Hillingham. Hoor me van Helsing ons gien mai, as Lucy for than a share. Tamalt beg looked out ration, henk men jeg woer vai as een cheer son an olu. Doschelei les tashpen as erskin taus, liege ersene de doegesag, as jige dos moer de vlegen bijna. Tad shaw de Hans in a Lucy, doorte. Me Hans, o me herlieb aan Helsing. Te me been, ach, gene de hand de gleilesh, she mentionen ton. And sure hug Lucy come a gamach nedenek. Gene, son han nelle drogoil suet ons jaag non zacht skeach. the Sparks album by Rachel Hare and Ron Jappy. That was a piece called Loch Inver.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Stasiwn yn asiwn ta radio fanim. Sé Claare na Gael tar a chlásin cartnish. Mish Robert Cudincarswell, Robert a Carslach.
Did he ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
Masoch a liastad chinde sú strain gestome. Nonnen jem kourige maagd en machara Arthur. Na siegen en fuddy bi femer sorrel. Vagen huish elid, de wel huish graaiege courage huish cam. Aha, ma in a weg. Shen cor strainige jesh, ve len girach rish. Shaw liesach. Ach en el visse der nacht. Tammy cores en onjeged. Tammy ginu slong an brow, as crochad me giet de wannel. De ginu cardle de mai. O she, tut shaw, gurish blaen lotus, cor de vore ve gerudit. Te sorrel huish gurish noshigen lithi, as gurish verein shen en egage ren de conquistadores shira ons na Floridachen, as hurad ach ulju ro ammach. Gouds veel lord van Lucy scrutigen na blegen as sorrelad. Nish, gauwie shisad, as ish greilesh, lie gere as lie skach. Oh, hallo, tammy kreil na veluach ginu gammon jim. Comma, geneach garlied gadjent an a blegen shaw. Now David Robertson goes on. The value of landed property, of course, is now considerably increased. The country enriched by the exportation of produce, and the markets at home abundantly stored with a rich variety of provisions. Eggs, butter, and poultry are here very plentiful. Beef seldom exceeds 1 penny a pound. Mutton is equally cheap, and perhaps the most delicious in the world. Pork is still cheaper. The pigs fed at home are reasonably large, and have sometimes a fishy flavour. But there is a small species called purrs, which run wild on the mountains, and are esteemed a most admirable delicacy. Hares, partridges, and moor game are plentiful, and of fish there is great variety. From this abundance of domestic comforts and the plenitude of foreign luxuries, persons of small fortunes here enjoy life in its flow. For here the oppression of game laws, land taxation, and excise establishment are utterly unknown. And there's a footnote here which we'll look at next. Seems strange, doesn't it? He's a British Crown officer, and yet he's criticised the excise and he's criticised the amount of taxation people are paying. Well, now, Richard Trethewey sings about some Cornish tailors now.
We be working on the board, all a slaving on the cord. We be pressing out a seam, whilst the young'un sneaks the cream. We be rustling in the yard, while the farmer's working hard. We be Cornish tailors. We be here, we be there, we be working everywhere. We be working all the day, and a singing come what may. We be here, we be there, we be working everywhere. We be Cornish tailors. We be clacking with the geese while the public read a fleece. We be singing with the silk like the milkman with the milk. We be covering up with feathers while we wearing out our leathers. We be Cornish tailors. We be here, we be there, we be working everywhere. We be working all the day and the singing come what may. We be here, there, we be everywhere. We be Cornish tailors. Tomany, tenany, berry, renny, pupliol, berry, renny, dressing jiffins, campering, agavol. Tomany, tenany, berry, renny, pupliol, von Trahorian Colonel. We be traipsing on the roads while we're wetter than any toads. We be sogging across the downs while the gentry's with the hounds. We be middling through the week, but on Sundays mustn't speak. We be Cornish tailors. We be here, we be there, we be working everywhere. We be working all the day and the singing come what may. We be here, there, we be everywhere. We be Cornish tailors. We be wishing till we're sure when the trade be getting poor. We be ready to bust a sack when the tiddly's at our back. We be whistling winter's light, we ums at winter's night. We be Cornish tailors. We be here, we be there, we be working everywhere. We be working all the day and the singing come what may. We be here, we be there, we be working everywhere. We be Cornish tailors. Tomany, tenany, very renny, all very renny, just and jithkins, camper nagabol. Tomany, tenany, very renny, all von Trahorian Colonel. We be walking arm in arm and the baby like the barn. We be putting on the biscuits, what we ought to on the whiskey. We be nearing Stickers Platt where we soon will whip the cat. We be Cornish tailors. Tomany, tenany, very renny, all very renny, just and jithkins, camper nagabol. Tomany, tenany, very renny, all von Trahorian Colonel. We be here, we be there, we be working everywhere. We be working all the day and the singing come what may. We be here, we be there, we be working everywhere. We be Cornish tailors. We can see the place in sight, so we'll wish thee all good night. We be Cornish tailors.
Cornish singer and fiddle player Richard Trethewey. Now, having mentioned taxation and excise, David Robertson's footnote says this. The only taxes in the island are 10 shillings and sixpence on each publican per annum, 1 shilling and sixpence on greyhounds and pointers, and a penny on other dogs. These taxes, with a very moderate statute duty, are appropriated to the repairs of public roads, which are in general equal to any in England, without being fettered at every turning with odious imposts. In the whole island there's not a single turnpike. The mercantile imposts I shall afterwards mention, he says. So back to the main text then. In permitting one article of commerce, the Manx are certainly culpable. Great quantities of excellent grain are annually exported, and in return very indifferent flour is imported for domestic consumption. But this error will, I hope, in a few months be remedied, for, since I left the island, Captain Taubman has informed me that on his estates grain mills are now erecting, which will soon be sufficient for the supply of the island. Well, this will be the Nunnery mill, which is still standing there and is visible in the painting by John Warwick Smith, which was executed about 1795. You can see that mill has been erected by that time. Verjindes arm tred Jerry van Helsing, as Dorte lesh ulju en lachtelid egge, as a chab leidje saitjes na mollion bollach egge chitrachelia. Gin gammon by emmes, genel mi riw spotjel. Ta or trom chushach ons ulju vis jintem, as ta mi cor raudut. Nou gin nu cum rail me. Gau rail, son sly elje man a velle de hons heen. Esch vagen de rau Lucy wach vo al, maar oddachi de maaie bij, hai ernest mine. O, in de weg, me wien, na gau al rom, genel mi ginu ach son foostut. Ach te moeren van deze de han ons na blein gekajen shen. Gich, ta misschien korad se chemered. Ta misschien ginu wan slongan as te ors kiaull. Ach, cunid, ginninch de sly elje ta cor lid na fashion shirafis. Signed on cor bialis, as ta tasted ginu sus Port-e-Chee bialis, as ta bialis de cor leshu ledger, as on slent mai, stiach ons riach en graiach de furchtenoot. Now we often hear songs by Delia Murphy in Claare, Gael, but this is a 1942 recording of her sister Angela Murphy with the song The Decent Irish Boy.
Decent job. I'm carrying bricks and mortar and my pay's 15 bob. I rise up in the morning, I get up with the lark, and as I'm going down the street I hear the girls remark, hello, Patrick Fagan, you can hear the girls all cry, hello, Patrick Fagan, you're the apple of my eye. You're a distant boy from Ireland, there's no one can deny. You're a rerum terum, divil may careum, distant Irish boy. That I left Ireland, it's many years ago. I left my home and Antrim where my pigs and pretties grow. But since I left old Ireland, it's always been my plan to let the people see that I'm a decent Irishman. Hello, Patrick Fagan, you can hear the girls all cry. Hello, Patrick Fagan, you're the apple of my eye. You're a distant boy from Ireland, there's no one can deny. You're a rerum terum, divil may careum, distant Irish boy. Like to marry me, I'll take her to a little home across the Irish Sea. I'll dress her up in satins and please her all I can, and let her people see that I'm a decent Irishman. Hello, Patrick Fagan, you can hear the girls all cry. Hello, Patrick Fagan, you're the apple of my eye. You're a distant boy from Ireland, there's no one can deny. You're a rerum terum, divil may careum, distant Irish boy.
A song written by Thomas Peter Keenan, 1866 to 1927, The Decent Irish Boy, or Hello Patsy Fagan, sung by Angela Murphy. She was born in 1923, but she died unexpectedly following the birth of her fifth child in 1955. Nish ve de haide cún rish tamalt. Ta merem machara John as nios cún oliam de haige mache chamber lesje gar liedem. Ter jit ulju en red vai Haarlem. Ball to machara van de Pol, quer ludden sa tai gloneg a carna blina. Ve orm chel graffa desen jay, nonnen a beche der wean shaw. The same gentleman, says David Robertson, that's to say Captain John Taubman, has lately endeavoured to promote among his countrymen a more universal spirit for agriculture, and as a striking proof of its blessings, has cultivated a hill in the vicinity of Douglas, which a few years since was one of the most barren spots in the island. His patriotic enterprise certainly merits imitation, for with every advance of agriculture, the comforts of life and consequently the happiness of society gradually increase. As Nishtan Tre Ein Erjit Gajera, waiting in the wings is Chris Pearson to bring you the Sunday chill out between 7 and 9. And at 9, Judith Lay will be here to present Sundown through to the early hours of Monday morning. We close with music from the Mordeckers, a band that was based in South Wales, featuring pipe player Penny Edicker, generally known as Penny Piper. However, here she noodles away on a whistle in the background, but it's her composition called Carn Menin, Butter Rock, which is a feature in the Preseli Mountains in Shir Benfro, that's Pembrokeshire. Ach nish, shenaim, so until the next time then, this is Robert Cutting-Carslow, Robert Carslach.
Oh, Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night, Eva Machri, Yeriu, as Orsel Ye, as Magiri and shared you will you.